Okay, hey everyone, I'm Rafi Salem with MX Data, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Megan Grove from MX Data and Clifford Perlman from Pockyt. So Megan, can you start us off and please tell everyone a little bit about MX Data and what's going on with the organization today?
Sure. Yes, well, so MX Data, is a retail solutions company. We provide IT solutions for retailers globally. We have partnered with Clifford and his team at Pockyt because they are offering a very cool payment solution, which is a digital payment method that retailers can utilize. For us, we're super excited because the main point of sale system that we sell is Retail Pro, and there are some limitations into, I should say, current payment solutions within Retail Pro. So Pockyt is a very good alternative and a new offering and enhancement that we can offer our retailers today. So we're really happy to partner with Clifford, and we're super excited to share this solution with everybody.
And Megan, you and I both share in that you were in the retail space. I was in the e-commerce space, shall we say, years ago, and it's really refreshing to hear, Clifford, that you have this solution that retailers have been, online and offline, have been looking for. So, Clifford, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and about the company.
So as you mentioned, Rafi, my name is Clifford Perlman. I've been in the retail space for well over 25 years. So I grew up in retail. I own my own retail stores. So I've been in retail. Retail really is in my blood. And I think people who work in retail, whether you're, in the store, in the supply chain side, or in the software side of it, or the infrastructure side of it, there's really an attachment to you with retail, and it really becomes part of who you are. So when I joined Pockyt some 2 years ago, I joined Pockyt not because I wanted to get into the payment space, because having grown up in retail, I understood how difficult and complex payments were. A lot of the gray you see was having implemented EMV in retail environments. And so really joining Pockyt, which is a digital payments platform, really focus on helping retailers adopt and offer their customers alternative payment methods other than the credit card. It was a very new way for me to get into an industry and a vertical being payments, which I knew to be very painful for merchants and retailers alike. So joining Pockyt and not having to be my payments environment that really caused a lot of heartache was very exciting for me. So I'm excited to talk to merchants all the time about payments, the way the rest of the world transacts. I'm here to help America really adopt payments that the rest of the world uses every day in their life all the time. So I'm excited about the opportunity here.
I remember reading a number of years ago about Elon Musk and his journey through PayPal, and they said that everyone knew it was coming, but the whole idea was security. We have to figure out the technology. We have to figure out the security. But we're going to get to that later. Just to start us off, I'd love to hear from both of you about the retail industry perspective on payment evolution for customers. We touched upon it a little bit, but maybe we can jump a little bit, a little deeper into that topic. Megan, you want to start us off?
Sure. So as Clifford mentioned, his background in retail, I have something similar. I have about 20 years experience working in the retail industry before I came over to the IT side, and including owning my own business. And I will say that a decade ago when that was, all it was you swipe a credit card or you take cash and the customer leaves. Today, there are so many different options to be able to collect payments. And that's what our retailers are ultimately looking to do, right? Is collect payments, turn your inventory quicker, generate your cash quicker, and just keep the world kind of growing and pleasing for the customer as well. So we're seeing a lot of different evolution. I mean, first you go to the, after that, you go into the chip, then we go into all these different payment types like Venmo, PayPal. We have the WeChat that is very adoptive into the Europe side of things. So we have European retailers and even Japanese retailers who are looking to implement that in their USA stores, but we have limitations in being able to do that. So really, Pockyt is a solution that's going to kind of close the loop and really give us the opportunity to present, like Clifford said, like a way that the rest of the world is doing it, that the USA is not yet, which we're super excited about.
I like to sort of equate it as saying that America invented the credit card, and that was really payments 1.0.
Yeah.
The rest of the world, what I'll call the rest of the world, the developing world, right, outside what I'll call the West, so US, Canada, Western Europe, but the rest of the world really went to payments 2.0 or even 2.5. They really skipped over the credit card. So the rest of the world it doesn't rely on credit cards like we do. So the rest of the world really has been using digital payments for decades now.
They don't use the physical credit card. They use their phone with their credit card on it.
Correct. Well, and that's another thing, I have a 21-year-old daughter who, when I joined Pockyt and I mentioned to her what I was doing and getting into digital payments and helping merchants adopt digital payments and alternative payments, she was very proud and said to me, well, I use digital payments, Dad, right? I use my Apple Pay. And I just remind her that her Apple Pay is really a credit card with a digital skin. And if my credit card wasn't powering her Apple Pay, she wouldn't have a digital wallet. So Apple Pay is really not a digital wallet. A true digital wallet has a funding source of a bank account. So what that means is for a merchant to be able to accept a true digital wallet, it's often less expensive for them because they're not taking that element of credit as they would with a credit card. And to your point earlier, the risk factor, the security factor is much greater because the only way to access that digital wallet is through your biometrics. So for a merchant, it's less expensive to accept a digital wallet over a traditional credit card. It's more secure, so you don't have the fraud or the chargebacks that you would with a credit card. And at the end of the day, our whole mantra at Pockyt is remove payment friction. Give customers greater choices to use payment methods that they want to use and make it easier for them to buy goods in a retail environment without it having any barriers to purchase. So I like to tell people, we want to enable customers to purchase at the point of discovery, whether that's in-store, online, social commerce. It doesn't matter where they find that merchandise. We want to enable them to be able to pay with whatever method is they're most comfortable paying with.
And kind of circling back to what you said about credit card fees, Clifford, I will tell you 9 times out of 10 new retail pro deals that I close and or current retail pro customers that we have who are looking to try to reduce their fees are put in a situation where they are put into a competitive kind of like analysis between different processors with people trying to earn their business, promising lower rates, lower fees. But then there's also different, requirements that come with that. That's also not, a better alternative to switching just for the lower fees. And retailers don't know how to really work through those things because retailers focus on retail, not, the banking and the number side of things. And again, they're just trying to.
That's a great point, Megan, because credit card processing fees are complex on purpose, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need to have a forensic audit done on your credit card statements as a merchant to understand what you're being charged.
Yeah.
Just because and so what happens is it becomes death by 1,000 cuts. It becomes so complex for a merchant to really understand those credit card statements that they just accept them because it's too complex for them to really understand it. The nice thing about digital wallets, it's very simple. It's a flat rate. If it's 2%, it's 2%. It's not 2% plus an exchange rate, plus a this rate, plus a that rate, plus a fee under here. Yeah. It's a very simple, transparent model, which is very refreshing.
It is.
So to me, like I said, I never would have gone into the payment space. Had you asked me 3 years ago if I was going to be in the payment space, I would have told you never. The fact that I'm in the payment space now is really just akin to the fact that this is alternative payments, and it's not the payments I grew up with.
So jumping into that and diving into that deeper, in terms of the opportunities that are out there, the trends that are happening and the future, where is Pockyt in that space?
So, You mentioned, earlier, Rafi, that, you came from the e-commerce space, and, Megan came from the store space. I came from the retail space too, the store side, the supply chain side. So really Pockyt plays in all verticals where customers want to make a purchase. We facilitate digital payments, like I said, at the point of discovery. So whether it's online, on an e-commerce platform, and we have a Salesforce plugin, and we have an Adobe Commerce plugin, and we have a BigCommerce plugin, and we have a Shopify plugin, which again facilitates digital payments on that side. We have a Retail Pro plugin as well, which facilitates payments for digital wallets at the retail store side, so from the POS side. The nice thing about this is, if you think back just 5 years ago, what was the number one promise that every merchant said to their customers from an omni-channel perspective? It's, we're an omni-channel retailer. That term was used ad nauseum, right?
Super buzzword
However,
right now, it's omni-channel.
Exactly. Yeah. But however, think about the number one use case a consumer expected a merchant to do. Buy online, return in store.
Mm-hmm.
A merchant 5 years ago, their number one or number two online payment method was PayPal. It fluctuated between one or two, either Visa or PayPal, and it could go back and forth. Mm-hmm. So if let's just say PayPal was my number two online payment method, and that customer now wants to come into the store and return it, you have a disconnect because your number two online payment method cannot be used in the store to facilitate an omni return. The number one expected customer service for an omni merchant. So that's what I call the disconnect, right? So really what we're doing is we're filling that void. We're really facilitating, like I said earlier, we're removing friction. We're allowing merchants to really live up to the commitment they've made to customers for the last 5 or 6 years. So when we talk in the US, we talk about PayPal, we talk about Venmo, we'll be talking about Cash App. We talk about digital wallets, global digital wallets. We talk about the likes of Alipay. We talk about the likes of WeChat Pay. We talk about the likes of Korea's Kakao Pay or Japan's PayPay. Every jurisdiction, every country has their own pay. And these are really truly native digital wallets, which Pockyt facilitates the use of, whether it be online, on social commerce platforms, or at POS for Retail Pro.
So I have to jump in. Is there going to be an AmeriPay in the future?
No, there is. That's a good question. So it's funny. Last week I read an article with Elon Musk now buying Twitter, or going to be buying Twitter. He didn't call it a super app. So Alipay and WeChat, these are called super apps. PayPal wanted to be a super app, wants to be a super app. Amazon would love to be a super app. Facebook would like to be a super app, but they all come at it from a different perspective. Elon Musk now mentioned Twitter, and he didn't call it a super app. I forget the term he called it, but it was akin to him trying to make that into a super app. Now you have to understand how a super app works, because we don't have a super app in America, or in North America. That doesn't exist. An average Alipay user goes into Alipay on an average of 48 times a day. Now just think about that for a second. If you're up 16 hours a day, maybe, that means you're going into it 3 times an hour on average. Because Alipay is central to what the Chinese consumer does. It's central to their life. They chat in it, they order their food, they check on their kids, they do their banking, they pay their mortgage, they schedule their car. Everything in their life is centralized around Alipay. So naturally, this consumer, if they're able to use Alipay as a digital wallet, they're going to use that as a digital wallet because it's core to what they do every day. And then Alipay has a social element to it, where now when I go make a purchase using Alipay for a millennial or a Gen Y, they can now publish that out to their friends through Alipay. Look what I just purchased. And that's sort of creating the social aspect to a purchase. So for a Western business to accept Asian digital wallets is a huge opportunity, because I'm going to give you a statistic that when I joined Pockyt surprised me. Less than 14% of Asians, not including Japan, own a credit card. It's not central to their life. And if you recall what I said earlier, America was payments 1.0 with the credit card. The rest of the world skipped it. So the only time Chinese consumers get a credit card is when they travel abroad. And they go and they get their, their Union Pay credit card, and that runs on the Discover network. And then, like it happens to all of us, right? A third of the time you get to the States or you get where you're going and your credit card gets frozen for a fraud alert. And now you have this unilingual Chinese consumer traveling abroad, has no idea who to call because they have to call Union Pay, which is on the Discover network in the US. So they can't use that credit card a third of the time because it gets held for a security. So again, when we talk about friction, if a merchant just accepted Alipay, these consumers have all the access to all the money they want. It's the way they pay at home. So we're enabling Western merchants to really facilitate these consumers to use the native digital wallet they use every day in their home.
Yeah,
So we Pockyt are a licensed US fintech company. So for us, we facilitate the use of Asian digital wallets in this case. We convert and we pay the merchants in US dollars, so the merchants don't have to worry about exchange rates. They don't have to worry about anything. If they sell a product for $100, they know they're going to get $100 US in their bank account. They don't have to worry about the foreign currencies that come along with these Asian digital wallets.
Yeah, and when I think about the opportunities that this presents, just to our customers, it's almost like a supply and demand situation. Retail is so fast paced, everything is urgent. You receive a shipment, it's get the goods on the floor, because every minute that goes by are lost sales. It's now turned into these buy online, pick up in store, because forget that the customer can't wait 2 or 3 or even a week to get a shipment. It's I've ordered it today, I want to go pick it up now. Well, now it's this process. It's okay, I have paid for I paid for my goods. Now the retailer is like, I'm trying to collect now. So it literally is just keeping up with the supply and demand of the fast-paced industry of retail, which, again, coming from a retail solutions opportunity, that's what I'm super excited about to talk to our customers.
Yeah, and there's also a respect element, right? So if you're really trying to expand your customer base, which I don't know any merchant that doesn't want to, right? Everybody's trying to get more customers. If you really respect your customers, why wouldn't you want to make it as easy for them to spend money with you, especially if it's not going to cost you more? There's no downside for a merchant to accept these digital wallets, and it just removes friction and makes it easier for these customers to spend money that they have in a way that they're used to shopping when they're in their home country.
It's almost like a line buster situation too. It's like you're line busting. Everybody can just check out quicker too.
Yeah.
So.
And just to bring things home and wrap things up, are we, besides what we just talked about, what other benefits is Pockyt looking to provide retailers at this point and in the future?
So Megan mentioned, quickness of checkout. And I'm going to use a very American example here. The good thing about Pockyt is there is no such thing as a Pockyt app, because the last thing the world needs is another app on their phone that we don't use. Let's just be real about it, right? Yeah. So, I have way too many apps on my phone. The only two I use primarily are Amazon and Starbucks. So if you go into a Starbucks and you make a purchase, you pull out your phone and you go into your Starbucks app like everybody does, and you get your barcode and you point it at the scanner and you grab your coffee and you walk out. So that use case, that flow is what's called customer presented QR. It's the customer going into their digital wallet app, in this case, Starbucks, presenting their digital wallet to the scanner, scanning it and walking out. So when a PSP, when a credit card company tries to facilitate digital wallets being used in the store, they have to force the customer to the payment device in the store. And what they have to do, because all of their payments is centralized on the payment device, what they have to do is they have to, if they can, they have to present a QR code on the payment device. So what they're doing now is they're now making the customer go into their phone, grab their camera, take a picture of that QR code, and then complete the transaction on their phone. And so as a merchant knows, what you want to do is you want to get the customer in, get them out as quickly as possible. So Starbucks were very smart. They travel the world, they have stores globally, and they know that in the rest of the world, customer presented QR is the gold standard for checking out with QR payments. So QR code payments. They adopted that because they don't want to ever give the checkout flow back to the customer because that slows down the checkout line. And I just think of my dear mother in line trying to figure out, how do I take that picture? And then what do I need to do? And people behind you. And you know what? We're all too busy to wait for my mother to finish it on her phone. So all my mother needs to do is go into Venmo or go into PayPal, present a QR code, the store associate scans it, and the transaction's completed. So it's a very fast checkout.
Yeah.
So that's called customer presented, whereas the PSPs through the payment device are forced to doing merchant presented, which in China, the independent mom and pop shops are the only ones that do that. Any of the larger enterprise merchants, they all accept customer presented. So we as Pockyt, by doing that, Rafi and Megan, as you know, our integration is to Retail Pro. We don't touch the payment flow. So we're not impacting a merchant's PCI certification. We don't collect any personal information. So we're not collecting any PII data. So we're not impacting their ability to remain GDPR compliant. So we really are a very thin, secure form of payment, bypassing the current payment ecosystem and really just facilitating payments natively through Retail Pro POS.
So there's a lot more to talk about. Going through my head, I'm just thinking, you mentioned Discover card before, and now I'm thinking, what about American Express? What about Visa? What about MasterCard? Like, where are all they? And where are all the banks in all of this? And where's the security? Like, there's just, you just opened up a Pandora's box, basically.
Yeah, but
we have to do a webinar. That's our next step, is a webinar. We can actually show everybody.
But you have to remember, that's their core business, right? A PSP who offers digital wallets, they do this as an afterthought. They do this to check off a box on an RFP. It would not be in their best interest to move customers to digital wallets because it would impact their bottom line. They make all this money on credit cards. So it's not in their best interest to move both merchants and their customers to digital wallets because it'll impact their bottom line.
You realize the dog started barking once you mentioned that.
The dog agrees.
We are way over time. Megan, please, closing statements. Where is MX Data in all this, and what can we look forward to in terms of our relationship with Pockyt?
Well, what we would like to do at MX Data is host a webinar so we can, invite our retailers to see the solution, learn about the solution, and that would be our next steps and our takeaway from today. And thank you, Clifford. We really appreciate you being here with us, and we're excited.
Yes,
Thanks,
Clifford, closing statements, any events going on, any conferences or trade shows everyone should know about?
Well, I mean, the big show is in January at NRF, right? So that's one that we're looking forward to being back to. We were actually there last year, us and probably, 100 other people only. So I'm actually looking forward to it. We were at Shop Talk this year in Vegas, and it was well attended. And we're looking forward to being there, being at NRF in January. So that's the big show we're looking forward to.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both very much. Once again, I'm Rafi Salem with Megan Grove from MX Data and Clifford Perlman from Pockyt, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.